Hello guys, Susanna here. I'm back again. As you can see, I've done a little bit more like a finish off the bunny, and I've put down what I was researching. This is actually, because it's Japanese, this is like the cherry blossom, and these are the blossom leaves. And I have got this beautiful, I'll just take that off, Japanese kimono, like a vintagey one, and I've been chopping it up to do a few little, I've got a hexagon thing that I've done here. I want to cut that out and maybe put that on the corner here somewhere so that you can see, you know, that like it, I want to have a do the embroidery. I'll embroider that one, and then I've put this down like using the Laurie Holt method, which I will show you. But I was thinking I'm going to do, as you know, I'm going to embroider these in that colour. That it helps sort of incorporate that as well, the green and the blue. But I cut out the templates. What I did is I just got some clear plastic, because it's really hard to see. You can't see through that. I got some clear plastic which I drew around that, then cut that out, then used my marker pen and to trace around some violin. I've got this one happens to be an iron-on violin. You don't need to have iron-on violin, but I just find it, you know, when you put it on there, it irons on. So I was thinking, because I'm going to be using this colour here, because this is sort of a bit like the meadow and all that kind of stuff, and I've picked out all these little buttons which I'm going to be sort of putting here. So because I'm going to be doing the sort of the teals and the pinks, sort of pinky peach, I'm using these buttons. So I'm going to go over this with this and then put the buttons on the end so that they look like they're some of the buds from the trees. So yeah, and then I'll continue to do more. So I'm just going to do a little bit of applique. So I just want to do applique on the one, and then the rest I will just do, and then I'm going to possibly, I've got these, and this sort of fits in these bottom parts really well, so I may cut some of them off and put them on the bottom parts, or might put it on one and then hopefully you can see that, put it on one and then do some seed stitch on the other, and then put it on another one and seed stitch on the other one of that. So yeah, because they're pretty well perfect like that. This one here fits in that center really well. So but I sort of wanted to incorporate the teal as well. So here's that green, but it's too green, whereas I think, I mean, look at this, it's so textured and beautiful. I'm going to use that, and see the beauty of, you can see that's really Japanese. It's got that same print there. So what I want to do is stick that on there. You do the shiny side, which is the iron-on side, and I'll probably do some embroidery on that once it's down too. So I'm going to take as much of that flower as I possibly can, maybe bring it down a tad and get a little bit of the peach, but that's okay for me. And then what you do is you just pin that down, and I'm going to take that to the sewing machine, and I'm using what's in there, which happens to be a tealy colour at this point. That's why I could sort of see a little bit of it on that side. So I'm going to cut that off here just to make it a little bit easier. just love it. So pretty. And I'm using a Japanese kimono on a Japanese Sashiko Sampler embroidery. So doing it a bit different how they normally do it. So if you hang 10, I'm just going to, what you do is you sew completely all the way around. So I'll be back and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I'm back again. Because it is silk, it does move, and you can see the blue thread, which is the same colour I used on there. Now what I'm going to do, now I had to go over this again because it was a little close, so I'm just going to cut really small snips around the bits that are round in order when it turns that'll be okay. You don't want to cut the stitching, so be careful. That should be alright there because it's pretty close. On the ends I like to do it there, just enough to allow it to turn okay. Now what you need to do is you pull that so you're not snipping, pull that out so you're not snipping that. I like that. I'm going to cut it along there and then maybe even go that way as well. Then you proceed to turn it inside out. This is not always easy thing to do. I have done this technique before using a thinner one, which wasn't that great, and then I've got this one which is a bit thicker, which is better, but it's still fairly thick. So getting around the top area is pretty good, but trying to push in that long pointy bit will be the tricky part. Get a plastic knitting needle or a plastic. Be careful, you don't want to poke a hole in it. These are the tricky bits that aren't always easy. You watching me struggle trying to get this thing through. Push it through. Because it comes down to a point. Ugh. Until it's grey not grey fabric, dark blue. That's some of the flakes coming off on it because it picks up everything. I mean, it stands out when you're stitching, which is beautiful, but you've got to see the good with the bad, I suppose. Seeing that not everything is always easy. Oh. Pin on the floor, grab that later. Yeah, so you don't want to push it out too much, like as in, because you want it to sit. Come on. Not always easy getting something that's so teeny to work. Now a little bit of that See, when I sewed it, it was quite a bit of that peach coming through, whereas now it's really not that much, which is probably not a bad thing. Okay, push that right round to get those bits out. There you go. Hopefully get a little more of that bit out. So how are we all going? Have you had a look at the very cute little shop, the Crafty Squirrel? Had a chance to have a sticky beak at that? I mean, you may be able to get this sort of stuff online in other places as well. That's just where I got mine. Ugh. Okay. Okay. May have to fiddle around with that a little bit more to get those bits out. So get the corner bits out, because we are going to be covering, stitching that on. And for these I used this thread, and for this I'm going to use that colour thread. So you want to have same matching thread. I might pause it and see if I can do a little bit more, because I want it to be flat. Okay, we're back again. So I've got my little iron on, and I'm going to position that over this and put it in. Make sure that it's lining up in the top as best as it can. Okay. There we go. Get the iron, push it up. This is why having iron on stuff at the back, even though you've cut into it, is handy, because it will help it keep in place a little bit. Fairly hot. Need to really push it down, because sometimes it just doesn't stick. Like there. That's fine though. Now, what I'm going to have to do, I might start stitching there. Whew, it is rather warm. Okay, I'm just taking the plug out. Okay, now what we do here, I'm going to do first is I'm going to stitch, like what I've done here, you stitch this down, and then I'm going to use this thread. When I do that, I'm going to go over the top of that, and I'll use that thread to go over the top of this one. So I may start at the bottom, just to make sure that it's being held down a little. So this is just holding it down at this point. This is not doing the embroideries. This is the applique side of it all. Okay, once I get the ball rolling, it'll be a little bit easier, but it's a bit stiff down the bottom there because it's so gathered. There you go. Got a long bit because I had a fair bit to do. Now make sure that it is. So you just do like a little slip stitch, pick up some of the piece. There you see, straight away it starts to knot because it's such a long piece of thread. Only downside of having the navy, it really does collect all the dust and bits and pieces. So once I get into the swing of things, here to be good. There we go. And then it'll be fairly quick to give it a slip stitch. And it's going to be really lovely to do some embroidery on that. Like I can do some, I might even use some gold, but I might even bring out some of this into it as well, because it's the same as that. Really glad I remembered I had some of this beautiful Japanese kimono that my lovely friend gave me. The colours are perfect, and the design, you can tell that it works really well with the design of the Japanese Sashiko embroidery, even though I'm doing it in a completely different style to what the original way of doing the Sashiko embroidery is. I still have lots of elements of it. So, like I said, this is a perfect one to learn slow stitching. You guys don't have to do this if you just did follow the stitching pattern and just did it like that. That would be fine. It'd be a really good one for beginners. So okay, now I may pause it and then I'll come back when I finish sewing that on, and then I'm going to start doing that, and maybe actually I might do one of them first and then I'll start on that just to show you what to do. Okay, back again. This is what I've done with that. I've put that on and I've stitched it with some of that similar colour to this, but I just thought I'll have the one colour around there, and then I'm going to use the variegated thread along there. So I've put a big lot of this thread, and it's got 6 strands, so I've put it into 3 just to make it similar thickness to that. Okay, now I will proceed to sew. I'll show you what I've done here. I thought I'll just quickly do that one, and because it's been tacked down, so I'm just going to do a running stitch along here and do it of sort of similar width, so fairly big stitches as what these ones are. So, and you may just have to do, I found when I did it, you probably just have to do one at a time, which is a little annoying, but there's only a small amount of the embroidery stitching that you do need to do. So to keep the thread together, I have put it across some soap. Probably wax would be better, but I haven't got wax, so because it's a DMC thread, it does tend to pull apart, so you do want to keep it together. And so I'm going to do this around all of the petals. Look like little love hearts, but they're actually petals of the Japanese maple. No, Japanese cherry blossom, that's the one. I was getting everything wrong. Okay. Just go down. The reason why I'm doing this is to doubly secure it, but also to keep it in check with matching the other stuff. So, well, here we go. Managing to be able to get a few strands done. There we go. And just like with any other slow stitching, the stitches aren't necessarily the same size, but to keeping that down. And I'm going to use this colour thread again. I've got that on there to do the seed stitch on the inside of those ones, so that will match that then, having it in a solid colour. So, and once we've done that, I'll proceed to do the actual flower blossom. Oop. Okay, see, it still manages to knot up. Any trouble when you get a long piece, it does knot up. Okay. Both the ones down here are actually from the kimono, whereas this is a tiny little piece of Laurie Holt. This is where you can use all. So I've got all these little pieces, and you tend to go through the same thing. I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial or a project where you use these little pieces and like a miniature log cabin, because there's so many of these and they're good enough to be used in a project. And it's a bit like when you're doing your paper scraps with journaling. So I mean, we can make some like scrappy embellishments, or what else would be called, snippet rolls and all that kind of stuff. But I think that these are big enough. I can probably make a little mini quilt out of it. I've seen on Instagram these really cute little doll bed quilts, and it's a great way of using up all your little leftover bits, because you do tend to get them when you're doing paper craft or fabric craft. Okay, now that's down, and I'll do the same to the other ones in the corner, but for now, where are we? Sort of gathered that up. It's given it that really rusticy look. Okay, so now I will start with this one here, and I am going to start with a French knot, and I might go, how many we want? 1, 2, 3, like I want a fairly big one. I think I did 3 for the eye as well. Because it's a flower and it's fairly significant, I do want to make it fairly big. There we go. And then once again we follow the lines that they have provided for us, which is what I love about this little kit. Ugh, get over there, I don't want it to catch on everything. And they're fairly big lines. I might even do a French knot in the middle actually, or I can see either a French knot or a button. Don't know. Let's see how we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Back down. Okay. And then I might go across. You can't see the stuff behind the back anyway, so rather than starting a new see, if that was me and I was, didn't have the guide of the other one, I don't think I would do such big stitches. So it is a really great freeing exercise to, you know, get you to go along and learn the running stitch without, you know, you're following the guide of it, and gives you a way of, you know, it's okay to do big stitches. I always do little stitches, and see, that's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. It's okay. I've had to learn to let go of being so perfect all the time. And then, because this is a variegated thread, it will get lighter in spots, which is really nice actually. Add a bit of variety of colour. Love the brightness of the colours on this, the navy. It really stands out, looks beautiful. I'm gonna have fun doing this. Ready am. Just coming along for the ride. Okay. And then finding the top of that. I think the colour's getting a little lighter now, but it'll definitely be lighter by the time we finished it, because we're doing such big running stitches. They're huge. Okay. Yeah. And then there, and then up. It's going to look really nice doing that same sort of look on here. I don't know whether I'll do gold or not. I wonder if I've got any. I do. It's silver, but it's almost like a silvery gold. Yeah, I might leave that out. But working with gold is such a pain. I may even incorporate some gold, like, because it's, you're working with gold thread. Ugh. But it looks fantastic, but oh, just it's terrible to work with. 2, 3. Because it falls apart and all that kind of stuff. That's definitely one that's worth getting some wax and putting some wax through it. Oh, there we go. May end up having a full darker centre. I think we will. Okay. So, don't know whether I'll do a French knot in the middle or whether I do a button. Have to be a small one. I think I might do a button, but I'll have to go into my little button stash and find a small one, which I think I may have. Ooh, might be the perfect colour. How good is that? I will put that in there, and because there's only the one, it's fine. Okay, go on there like that, up there, and then okay. While I'm here, I might as well stitch the button on. you know, match the buttons that I'm going to use all around here, which would be good. Okay. Yep. Okay, pull tight. Where are we? Okay, I only need a couple because it's 3 strands. I don't want it too thick. Okay, and we'll knot it off just to keep it in place. And then continue on. Okay. Starting to fade, a bit hard to see where that dot is. So this does fade, which is good, but does make it a little bit difficult when you want to stitch. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to do that 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to start on the flower, and that might be the last thing I do today. Oh, see, look, just when you're on the end. Okay, well, I'm going to just go right across there, so me unpicking it, and just do the flower. Geez, it's hard to see. Okay. Yeah, better go in. This is the bit I love. It's just so quick. Okay. I'm going to lick my fingers rather than putting my tongue over it because I'll end up with a soapy taste in my mouth because I put soap on there. Okay. Getting there, guys, getting there. I mean, this would work just as well. I don't know if you've seen, if you get embroidery books like the ones that I showed you in the haul, and you just get a little pattern, you can do the same thing, and you do it really lightly. You use one of these and it comes off in water, and you just, like I did with that, you stitch along that line, and then it'll wash out. One of those, or you've got one of those heat pens, you know, you can go and make your own design of anything. Okay, but I quite like that I'm using my Japanese stuff on a Japanese style. Okay, that's going to get lighter, which is nice. Looks so pretty. So you only just pinch a little bit, and the actual stitches are quite big, but in between is not that big. And what I like about it is you can do more than one stitch at a time. Make sure that you pull it. I'd say that's why they've got specific thread to do this, so that it's not going to pull apart like DMC cotton can. Okay, but you could probably get, you know, the thinner type of perlade, that would work okay. Use what you have, that's what I reckon. Okay. Getting there. How pretty. Just really comes to life because you guys can't really see the small little stitches that are there. You just get to see it come to life once I've done the stitching, which looks awesome on the grey and the navy. I keep calling it grey for some reason, so you've got to keep pulling it so it's together. Okay. I think we're coming into the lighter thread now. Okay. And be careful it doesn't get, because it is a running stitch and running stitch is made together. Be careful that it doesn't gather up, like pull it out every now and again. Okay, here we go. I think these are a little bit smaller stitches than the bunny. The actual bunny was a bit, the stitches were a little bit bigger. Ooh. I'm having a bit of trouble seeing it actually. Now, that's making it darker rather than lighter. Okay, there we go. Yep, so don't forget to show me some of your work. I'd love to see it. And maybe let me know in the comments below some stuff that you would like to see maybe try next year. Anything particular that you might want to learn, I'll see what I can do. I don't profess to be any expert on some of these matters. I'm pretty effective at trying to interpret things in a different way. Like this is, you know, I always add my own spin to things. And that's what I hope to teach you guys. You don't have to be stuck in a box. I mean, you know, art is very interpretive to one person. What may work for one may not necessarily be something that somebody else wants to do. Like, it's very personal. Okay. There we go, pulling it again. Okay, well, that's probably all I'm going to do for here. I'll finish it off and you'll see the finished thing in the thumbnail. And next time I'm here, I'm probably going to use this to go around all here and then put the buttons down, and I'm going to use that to there. So I'll probably come back when I'm done a little more to it and show you what I've done. I'm loving it so far. Here we go. Isn't that cute? Here's the stitching for that. And here's that. The colours look really quite nice. Okay, I'll catch you in the next process. Thanks for watching.